It's been a while since I've done a review on a watch from my personal collection, but that's really because the Tudor Black Bay has been eating up my wrist time. But I picked this up during the Black Friday deal a few months back, and I've been waiting to kind of show this off for a couple of reasons. This one really did catch my attention. So you can see it's a Tissot. Now we're going to be taking a look at the Tissot Ballade automatic chronometer. Now one of the reasons is exactly that I was able to finally try a chronometer from this brand. I've never owned one of these, so I'm pretty excited about that. But really the impressive thing to me was the price of this watch. Now I was able to get this during the Black Friday deal, but I don't think the gray market prices are that much different outside of those sales. I was able to get this one brand new through a gray dealer for a little bit under, a little bit over $300. So I'm around $320 with shipping and taxes. I've always liked this kind of stuff here by the brand. Packaging, I love this kind of packaging. It's nice, but you don't feel like your money's going towards this. It's nice and subtle. Let's put this aside, and here it is. Now I know the gold is not for everybody, but this does come in a couple of different variations of colors. I do believe there's a silver one and a two-tone one also. Now this is more of a rose gold. My lighting might be a little bit too harsh to see that, but I'm always a fan of these kinds of gold watches when they're subtly done. And this might be a good one that's going to stick around in my collection. Let's go ahead and wind that. Now of course you can hand wind this, and of course it's an automatic movement. Now the crazy thing to me is exactly that you're able to get this chronometer. This has an 80-hour power reserve. You can see it there. An 80-hour power reserve. This is under 10 millimeters thickness, and the case diameter is of 39 millimeters. So pretty much by every metric, this is a dress watch. And it just amazes me that I don't see these out in social media or on people's wrists more often, especially when you're having a conversation about value. Because to me, it doesn't get much better value than this. So again, let me repeat that. It's an 80-hour power reserve chronometer movement with all these great specs for a little bit over $300. To me, that might be one of the best values I've heard in a while. And I had to just get it. Now I planned on putting this on a strap when I purchased this, but looking at this bracelet, it does feel pretty sturdy. It does look like the pins are screwed on. I always appreciate that. I do like this small crown here. And I'm not sure if you can tell here, there you go. There is a layer of texture in the inner circle of the dial with the brand and the text kind of laid over it. I know it's a minor detail, but it's one that always gets overlooked, or very often at least. But having the date window perimeter like that it goes a long way, and to have it done in the same tone as the indices and the case, you would think it's a no-brainer, but a lot of brands overlook that. Now you do have the numbers 12 and 6, but right along the perimeter, again, I'm sure you can see that there. But you do have those numbers too, and a ring of rose gold around there. Now to me, these details in a dress watch, these details are super important because there's not much more going on. But a lot of them are overlooked and it just looks too plain. So this, to be able to do this, where it's not overly flashy, there's a lot of detail going on, but it doesn't take away from the dressy style, that goes a really long way. You have a signed crown. Signed clasp here. Obviously exhibition back. You're looking at a sapphire crystal. Like I said, under 10 millimeter height. I believe it's marketed as 9.8 millimeters. A water resistant of 50 meters. Now, of course, you're not going to go swimming with this watch, but it's nice to have something there. And you do have this kind of, it's not exactly a fluted bezel, but I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it does add a lot to the design. They do have these in women's versions that are just shrunk down. So if you're looking for kind of like a his and hers watch, this might be a good one. But really, there's not much more to say about this. To me, it's amazing that I don't see this in conversations about value, because really just looking around, when I saw the specs, I thought it doesn't get much more affordable than this. Now I brought out some other of my dress style watches. Now they're obviously not specifically dress watches, but I wanted to kind of show it off. Now I do have this Max Bill that it's quartz, but it does appear to be a little bit bigger. I believe this one's a 40 millimeter one. It's going to be a lot thinner because of its quartz, but I do like having these kind of side by side for reference of size. Big fan of the Max Bill line. You can't go wrong with those either. And I did want to have this one mainly because this seems to be one of the bigger competitions for the Tissot. But movement wise, the Swiss just completely blows it out of the water. There's nothing against the Seiko. I've had this in my collection for a long time. I love this watch. The dial is incredible, but see, size wise I do prefer the Tissot. The movement wise I do prefer it. They're around the same price, yet I never hear any talk about the Tissot. Just crazy. Let's go ahead and put it on the wrist, see how that wears. But again, I want to do this quick video to kind of highlight some of the things that attracted me to it and ultimately highlight the crazy affordability of it. Let's put this on the wrist. Yeah, so on the wrist it wears exactly as I would think. It's very subtle. It kind of disappears on the wrist. The bracelet is pretty comfortable. It's not overly thick, but it's not too thin either. Now the gold does pop a lot, but like I said, this is available in a couple of variations. But to me, this might be a winner, especially for the holiday seasons, for a dressy watch. It really does pop in the sunlight. I'm really liking this watch, and even more for the price.